When people talk, listen, man, I'm going to raise that red flag.
This narrative, especially after 1 year.
1 year.
One bad year. It's one big splash move. And because I don't think people understand how much cap space we can create.
Alex, I want to ask you, because you're a very humble person.
And I'm never going to be right about anything.
Yeah.
I was right.
What's up, y'all? I'm back. I decided to kind of take a just short break from the 5 episodes of leading up to 2025, mostly just because it takes so much work. Like, it's just a lot. I mean, it's just, you're talking about 53 minimum players, plus you're talking about cap coming over from the year before, how we were set up from the year before, looking after. The first one was really, really easy because all I'm doing is working with what I have at the moment and not kind of explaining an overall picture. Yada, yada, yada. You don't care. Woe is me. But I just wanted to get on mostly because I'm charged with cleaning up for my mother that's coming in. My sister-in-law's staying over tomorrow night. So I'm tasked with cleaning and I'm just procrastinating. So I thought I would jump on and share some thoughts about the Canales and Morgan and Tillis, which nobody watched except for me because I love Brent Tillis. Just some thoughts about them. So before I get into any of that, one, we signed the lease on my bar in Manhattan today. So I wish I had like the yay, but I'll just do the yay. So, you get it. So really super excited about that. If someone is listening and lives in Manhattan and wants to collaborate on something and needs a space for whatever reason, wants to film in the space, wants to do a podcast out of the space, wants to drink or eat in my space, let me know. I think that'd be really cool. Let me know if you're coming up for the Jets game this year, and maybe we can do something then. Or if you're just traveling to New York, let me know. I mean, I don't have a lot of Panthers fans here, so I would love to host. Also, I don't know what happened. I had like 500 followers, like I swear, like 2 weeks ago. And all of a sudden I have like 1,500 followers now, which is fine. Like, I don't care how much or little, whatever. But it's almost like every single follower, like, is just needs me to be perfect about everything. And accusatory, making it sound like I'm just saying things for my own ego. Like, whoever's listening, I am not a professional. I don't get paid for this. I'm playing intramural basketball. I'm like the guy, like, it's almost like you go to my backyard when I'm like grilling and tell me that I make a bad burger. I don't care. I'm making my own blood. What is going on? It's so weird, man. And then I was on Panthers on Tap today, and somebody was in the comments and just bashing on them. Guys, what's going on? Like, if you like the content, then listen. If you don't, then just don't listen or don't follow me, or like, I don't care. But what I'm not going to do is give a shit. I'm just, I don't mean that in like, I don't know how, actually, I don't know how that even sounds like a bad way, but I do all of this stuff. One, as like a little outlet. Two, I freaking love a lot of people in the Panther community. And we have a lot of fun, like, joking around on Twitter. That's another thing. Y'all don't know me. Like, if I'm saying stuff, it's usually in jest to somebody on Twitter that I know. And I'll just attacked about that stuff too. It's so wild. Everybody that just started following me, just unfollow me again because I was having a blast before. I don't know what's going on lately. It's been insane. And with the crazy, here's the craziest thing is that people will kind of demand for me to give them more information. Like I'll say something, and it's like, I need you to give me more than 2 examples. Well, I need you to shut up and leave me alone. I'm just like, I'm not your slave. I don't. Yeah, I don't know if the moon's in retrograde. I don't even know if that even is a real thing as far as what I'm talking about. But something's going on, and I just wanted to go back as it was because I was having a blast before, and then all of a sudden, the Twitter algorithm happened, and I don't know. It's like I'm an adult. I'm like an adult. Could you imagine some like punk kid just coming up and be like, yo, I need you to give me some more information. Like, get out. Oh god, people are weird, man. I don't get paid for this. Can you imagine like being at the YMCA and like you're playing like a pickup game and somebody comes in and be like, yo, I need you to get your you're only shooting 40%. I need you to get that up to 50%. What? People, man, they're so weird. It's just so weird. It's like, it's so egregious. It's so. It was wild. It's like everybody gets like 30 characters, right? Or I don't know. I'm just saying a random arbitrary number. Like you only get so many characters to put one tweet out there. So you can only get so much information in that tweet. And it's like, you're reaching, or like that's how did you come up with that with just that information? Don't follow me. Go away. Stop coming after me, man. I'm just trying to shoot my basketball. I'm sorry I disappointed you, random Twitter guy. People just want to start fights. It's insane. It's bananas. Hey, you're wrong. Okay. Well, fire me from Twitter, I guess. Just sorry, it's just so ridiculous. Yeah, one of my favorite things to do is like send like a Baymax, Big Hero 6, where he goes, he's like, everything. No, you need a hug, bro. You need to be happy. Like, come here. It's okay. It's all right. Big hug. Big hug. Feel better? Feel better? Also, I just had a laugh about that and vent about that. Because at the end of the day, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I don't want to deal with you anymore. I want to like answer your questions, like if you need clarification or like you want to have a conversation, because I enjoy that. But you being mad at me because you need me to do something else for you, sorry, bro. Go somewhere else. Go to someone that has like 2,000 followers. That's another thing. Why are you coming after me? I'm just like a nobody. There's people like 37,000 followers. Go mess with their lives. Anyway, I just don't know why that's so funny. Anyway, one thing that's interesting. Sorry, just still thinking about it. One thing that's interesting. Nothing. I'm not trying to like say anything about it, but I said, David Newton came out and said, we absolutely need to restructure Taylor Moton because we can't go into 2025 with him having a $31 million cap hit. And I said, no, we don't. We're good either way. And then like the next day, Dan Morgan gets interviewed and he says, we're good either way. I was like, that's a weird way to, I mean, it's not a weird way to phrase it, but you just said what I said. And then I tweeted out that people were saying that we need to, gain more caps somehow, whether it's restructures or extensions or whatever. And I said, no, we're good. We have plenty of room. And then Darren Gant goes on this podcast and says, no, I'm hearing we have plenty of room. That's how I said it. That's what I just said that. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Y'all in there at Panthers world, that PR team, I'm watching you. Because you know what you're probably doing is following this guy with like 1,500 followers. And like, one thing I got like a lot of crap for is because I said that Dave Canales has a tell. The reason I even brought it up, because Dave Canales he has so much charisma. He's like the all-American, like likable guy, and he kind of like is hard to read. Whereas like Dan Morgan is very easy to read. Like he does not have a poker face when he talks. So what the goal is when we're seeing these interviews is to get information. So the way I said you can get information is because you can see a tell with Dave Canales. He gets in the so I'll say what I'll work backwards. He gets in the you knows. That's not saying that whenever he says it means something. But if he goes, like a lot of people say like yeah. Oh, I can see you're uncomfortable, and they kind of dig up. That's what lawyers do when somebody's on the stand. When they see you start to trip up, that's when they know that there's something that they can pry into. And this ain't rocket science. This is just like lawyers do this when people are on the stand. So, watching the insane amount of Canales tape that I have, I finally concluded that when he gets in the knows, something's off. He's uncomfortable. He's floundering. He's trying to come up with ways to project, or I don't want to say lie. It sounds so harsh. Lie, mislead. Something's off when he gets in the knows. When he's like, yeah, I went to the store today, and then I went and I got a bagel, and then I got a Pepsi, and then I went back home, like that's the what I'm talking about. Not the I'm being very intentional with what I'm saying and very specific, but I want to make sure you're listening to me. So you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, not every single time he says it, but when he gets in the knows, that's when something's a little off. And I was like, man, good job, Alex. Like, you kind of figured it out. And I still think that. The amount of pushback. So let me tell you about my life. Just my life. So throughout my whole childhood, I was like accelerated in mathematics, and I, memorized basketball cards. Was really into statistics, yada yada yada. And I grew up in the poker boom. When like the World Series of Poker was first on TV, which was perfect for me because I thought mathematically. And with poker, if you want to be the best, and I think I'm sure my father's watching this, but they let me go out until like 3 o'clock in the morning and play poker. I can't. because I really was. I mean, I was playing. These were like you people 5, but it was. Everybody knew where we were. I was at my buddy's house that my best friend's house, like a half mile away, and we would just sit there and play tournament poker until like 2-3 in the morning, and we'd eat cookies that his mom made and put $5 in, and you take home like a $100 pot, whatever. But it was more about being the best. Nothing else mattered. It was about being the best. So in poker, you have all these different reasons that you can win. And, we'd wear sunglasses, so you can't see our eyes. Like, we were dramatic. But there was Mike Caro's Book of Tells. I don't know if you've heard of it, if you're a poker player. But that was my first time even trying to understand tells and pick up on things. So a lot of times, I don't know if you ever play poker, you would pay just to see a hand, so you can see what that tell. It's like you have a theory, and you need the conclusion on that theory. So all the Book of Tells is saying is that I'm studying this person and how they usually are, and I'm seeing how they are different and why they're different. So that's basically the gist of it. But it gives like things that somebody would do that are usual tells. Well, one of them is filler words. When they change their filler words. So this isn't rocket science. I'm reinventing the wheel. This is a book that was written 30 years ago. They say when you have a good hand, you'll say filler words like o, e, but when you have a bad hand, you'll get into the misleading tone. And usually when people are trying to mislead, they overspeak. They'll say too many words. So those filler words go from to, I can't even think of off the top of my head other words, but it'll become 2 words, and then they'll talk a lot afterwards. So your speech becomes quicker, and it becomes projective, if that makes sense. It becomes vague. It becomes basically nonsense, I guess. If that's what you're saying. So what I'm saying is very elementary to one book, and I'm just if nothing else in my life mattered at all, it can come down to that one book. Go freaking read the book. I'm not gonna tell you the whole book like Twitter wants me to, saying I need more examples. No, that is a very specific tell in poker. But after high school, I went to school for mathematics, and during that time, I just hated math during that time, because all it was is me sitting in front of a computer or sitting on paper and just doing numbers over and over and over and over again. And that just wasn't me. Like, I needed to be social. I needed to be interactive. I needed to be extroverted. So what happens in the universe, if you have too much of one thing, you just do the other thing. So I completely flipped and got accepted into my school's acting program. My school's acting program was studying a technique called Meisner, which is basically method acting. So it's all about making you better on stage by reading the other person's behavior. So in this program, you don't do scripts for a long time. You're basically only improving, and you're only using the other person's behavior. So all you're doing is being truthful and studying people. So I have 2 years of studying people, reading behavior, understanding human behavior. So I sort of have a background and being able to tell that, even though all I needed was this freaking poker book and I could give you the same information. And then I come to New York and I act for a certain number of years, and I end up, I took this test with Amazon, and I got placed into this new products program, and ended up working with product owners and finding different ways to use the budget that's allocated to build a team to bring a product to market. With that, every week we worked, because I was working with PR teams, I was working with marketing, I was working with internal executives. So when we were doing that, we worked with a public speaking teacher. The public speaking teacher would correct every single thing that could show weakness, which goes back to filler words. Because the people we were presenting to also worked with those teachers. And they understand, because all they're doing is saying, I have 5,000 people that I could be working with. Why should I work with you? So it's all on your shoulders to present the best way possible. And if they give a hint that you're, lying or misleading or projecting, then they ain't giving you money, they ain't hiring you, they ain't using you, yada, yada, yada. So I did that with Amazon, and then I went to a hedge fund and did the same thing. So weekly, I'm working with a public speaking person. They are not only correcting me, they're correcting everybody in my little bubble that I'm working with. So all I'm doing is seeing where that person is saying that person is showing signs of weakness or showing that they don't know what they're talking about, those sort of things. So I actually have a very strong background in this thing that I could have just seen from this stupid poker book. So no one knows that, but because we are a negative society, and all we want to do is bring other people down, when I say, hey, Canales has this tell, I am destroyed with people being like, oh yeah, but you said they don't want to ask like, hey, why do you think that? They just want to say, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's so wild. So wild. But anyway, Canales does have a tell. And he just does. Just does. And if you don't like it, just don't listen to me. I don't care. I really don't. But maybe you'll learn something. So, what do I learn from this tell? So I know that when he's being vague, because this is a coachable football team that's supposed to have these things figured out. He doesn't have to, but what he should do is understand all the people like that could be taken in that 8th pick. So he can talk about all of them confidently. Well, when he gets asked about Tyler Warren, he gets really vague. But he's trying to project like he knows what he's talking about. So he kind of goes a little all over the place. He ends up talking about Tyler Warren, but then talking about the position in college football. And he goes, you know. But then in a different interview, he's talking about James Pierce Jr. Dynamic, amazing, yada, So when he's specific and confident, the you-knows go away. But when he starts to project, when he says, oh yeah, and he's from the North Carolina region, and like that's just a big thing, like that we really like guys from our own region, so that's when you're like, I don't care, like nobody here cares. You're trying to give us things that you think we care about. We don't care. We just know that we want to know if you like the prospect or not. So as those sort of things. When he's talking about something he's very confident on, like he really cares about. So I just watched the last interview that he had with Jonathan Jones. He gets asked like 10 questions, and 9 of them he is confident, spot on. And there's one of them where he's just floundering. I don't remember what it was, but I was like, y'all, I bet you guys can figure out which one you think is not genuine. So let's take. So this video isn't just about. It's just not about me defending myself. I'm explaining why I see this and why this technique isn't just me pushing out my chest. But what can I learn from this? Well, I know he's doing homework on defensive end. You get other tea leaves from just the Panthers that they're going defensive end. In the recent history of the NFL, year 3 quarterbacks get wide receivers via trade or free agency, and they draft defensive line, tackle, or defensive end. So I have the trend of the NFL, and I have the trend of the Panthers. So I have concluded everyone wants to think we're taking best player available. We're not. This has been planned out. Unless it's somebody that just falls, drops, whatever. People can't just assume they're right about things because they think that makes the most sense to them. There's been a plan in place, and this is another thing. We do not live in a society where people play by the rules. Rules are meant to be broken. It's like when Captain Barbosa, they're not really rules, they're more like guidelines. So they're not supposed to be talking to people about trades. They're not supposed to be talking to people about to agents about free agency. They're not supposed to talk to people on other teams. But they do. It just happens, and we got to get over it. We're not playing. We're not. We're not playing by the rules. So they have a very good idea of who they're getting in free agency and who they're getting in the draft. They just do. It's already figured out. They don't just take. March now? They don't take 3 months off once they lose. They're talking to agents. They're talking to other GMs. They're working out deals. The deal's done. Canales, I said it 2 weeks, a week before he got hired. I was like, oh, he's already hired. They were a 5-win team. And they were walking through that place like they won the Super Bowl. Read the behavior, man. Like, they're... I think big stuff is about to happen with the Panthers. I think big stuff is about to happen with the Panthers. So, concluding all of this. 1, Morgan, out of his mouth, in his latest interview, said the positions of need are defensive tackle, defensive end, and safety. Literally said that. So and he's the one that doesn't fit or tell the truth. He doesn't fib or lie. He does tell the truth. And he doesn't have a good poker face. So he's just told us what he's doing. Canales is super confident talking about James Pierce Jr. So if I know that Morgan wants defensive tackle, defensive end, and Canales has all his homework done about James Pierce Jr., I'm pretty confident that James Pierce Jr. is on the table. That's my conclusion. 2, every single person was like, I assume receiver is the biggest priority. Well, Morgan didn't bring up receiver. Canales being the Canales, showman. Oh, it's a priority, but I wouldn't say it's the first priority. Well, why isn't it the first priority? Is it because you already got one? You already have a deal? Morgan didn't even bring it up. Why wouldn't Morgan bring it up? Because you already got one? Is that what it is? When people talk, listen, man. Y'all strutting around like something's going on. What's going on? So my conclusion is deals worked out. They got somebody coming in. I don't know how. I don't know what it is. It might be a trade. It might be a free agent. But they got a deal worked out because they're very, very much dismissing this wide receiver thing. And everyone else is asking him, I'm assuming wide receivers are like a big priority for you. Everyone. Canales is like, well, it is. And this is what happened when Morgan was asked about wide receiver. They were like, what are you looking to do with the wide receiver room or whatever? And he goes, immediately you see his mind change with how he's going to respond. And he goes, oh, I love this wide receiver room. You love it. What do you love about it, Dan? And he goes on, he says, well, I think Xavier Legette's going to be really good in this league. And he's developing. He used the word developing. Okay. Developing is the word he used. All right. So I know what you think about Xavier Legette. Doesn't really touch on Coker that much that I can remember. But then says, and then Adam Thielen, old, reliable is the word he used. Old, reliable. He got developing and old, reliable. And you don't mention that as a priority? So tells me that wide receiver's coming in likely free agency or trade. So I've learned two things. One, edge is probably where they're going in the draft in the first round. Wide receiver is it's probably already a done deal. And Dan said it again. When he talked, he said, they said, "What with the offense? What do you think is the priority on the offense?" And he said, "We just need playmakers, whether that's tight end, longest pause in the world, wide out, like he's 90, wide out. Well, everybody's been saying receiver all week. Were you nervous about saying it? Wide out or running back? What does that tell me? They're looking for a tight end." And then, was it a month ago where he said tight end multiple times and about how deep the draft was at tight end? So my conclusion is they're taking tight end in the draft. So I know they're doing a lot of homework on edge, and I know they're doing homework on tight end, and I sort of know that they got receiver coming in. So all of this, I get those three things that I'm pretty confident is going to happen. And I think they're confident. They're relaxed, laid back, jokey, smiling. Me and my 5-win team with the worst defense of all time. And then you look at the Bengals GM when he's trying to talk about bringing back T. Higgins and Hendrickson. He is all kinds of nervous. So like, all right, 5-12, and y'all look like y'all just won the lottery. Versus what, they're 9-8, and that dude's like trying to get anything, like say anything. I don't know, man. So the three things I am very confident are going to happen is that we're going to get a wide receiver via free agency or trade. We're going to draft edge in the first round and then tight end either in the second or third. And that's all I got right now. But I didn't get there on scouting. You want to know why? Because I suck at scouting. And I know that about myself. What I bring to the table is a very specific set of skills, like Liam Neeson. And that's what I got to offer. And if you don't like it, I don't really care. I got a kid, I got a wife, I got a mortgage. I don't have a mortgage. I pay rent. But it sounded cooler. But that's probably the last time I'm ever going to give you anybody my resume. But for this specific video, I thought it was necessary because necessary. Is it necessary that I drink my own urine or whatever? Dodgeball, whatever. I thought it was necessary because of the talking about tells. But I need more examples. Well, you better go find some, Dan. That'll work for you. How much you paying? So wild, man. Entitled people out there. So odd. Yo, go find. Some people got 100,000 followers out there. Go mess with them. They're probably breaking laws. I'm just sitting here just saying stuff on a YouTube video. But for my OGs that been here since the beginning, appreciate y'all. It's been a crazy year. This finally happened where I got this lease signed. So I really appreciate the positive feedback and everything like that. It's been a fun thing to do. I hope I still have the time to keep doing it. But if I am not able to get them out as much, I wanted to go ahead and get this out right now and just say how much I appreciate it. How much I appreciate y'all. So, until next time.